All right, we are recording. I hope. I want to make sure. How do I make sure?
You are.
Okay,
You are.
cool. Yay, thank you. All right, so I can't see you guys right now, but I can always switch back later. So everyone can see the screen?
Yes.
Awesome. It says reverse engineer your goals, right?
Yes.
All right, cool. Well, welcome to tonight's call. I wanted to open this up to anyone that's ever worked with me before as a client, meaning like I've been helping you with your health and fitness goals in one way or another. And I wanted to take that to the next step. Some of you might have already heard of Chalene Johnson, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I've heard all this before. And I remember when Chalene Johnson first wrote her book. If you don't know who she is, she's the one that created Turbo Fire, Chalene Extreme. She created Turbo Kick, the live class. She created PiYo, the live class. And she's been my mentor and someone I admire and look up to for years and years and years. She helped me step out of my comfort zone. She helped me gain confidence. She's taught me everything I know about goal setting. And so I wanted to pass that down to you, and I wanted to just kind of highlight everything that she's helped me with over the past, I'm thinking, I know it was 2012 when I got PiYo certified. So it had been since 2010. I first did Chalene Extreme. That's where my fitness journey started. And then I really found this world of Chalene Johnson, right? Anybody else know who Chalene Johnson is on the call?
Yes.
Okay, good. I know that some people might not. So I wanted to make sure that maybe even someone watching the recording kind of knows who she is. She wrote a book called Push. I have like 3 copies and one of them signed. Yes, I'm very proud of that. And she's kind of come up with this concept of reverse engineering your goals, but she learned from her mentor, which is Tracy. I'm going to get this wrong. Tracy, why can't I think of his last name? Brian Tracy, because Tracy's his last name, Brian Tracy. And so she tells us all the time, I didn't create this. You know, there's nothing that's ever been done that someone else hasn't already done, but you can do it and you can even do it better. So I want you to think about your goals and the things that you want to set for yourself, whether they're health and fitness or business related goals. Just know that someone out there has already achieved them, and there's nothing new under the sun. So I could come on here and start talking about goals and settings, but everything I've known and everything I've done is from someone else that's handed it down to me. So I'm going to take what I've known and kind of personalize a little bit, but most of it's going to come directly from what I've been doing, which is following the Push book. She calls it reverse engineering her goals. And I think that's the missing step a lot of people make. So let's just jump right in, okay? Yay! All right, so your foundation determines your success. So when we go through this tonight, I want you to think, okay, I'm going to be writing my 10 top goals at the end of this. So that I'm going to help you with that at the very end, and I'm going to help you learn that this is the foundation that a lot of people miss. They think about their goals, they think about what they want to do, but they never write them down and they never lay the foundation, because that's the only way that people actually reach their goals. That's the only way they actually get the success that they want, is by laying the foundation. So it says, according to Wikipedia, a goal is a desired result or possible outcome that a person envisions, plans, and commits to achieve. Commits, the big word there, I highlighted it. But it's not that simple. You must do the groundwork first. And I skipped this the first time when Chalene started talking about it, and I went right into the goal setting. And like not even 30 days later, I was like, okay, now I see why this step was the critical and why I had to go back and do it. So even though it's as simple as a decision, you have to say that to yourself. Like, this is a decision that I'm going to make. From this day forward, things will and they must be different. You're not just willing to change your habits for a day or for a week, but that you are in this for the long haul. You must decide that you are going to succeed before you ever do. You can't actually do anything without the mental thought process that I'm going to make this happen no matter what, non-negotiable, like no matter what comes my way, no matter what happens in life, no matter what curveball the enemy tries to throw at me, like I'm making up my mind right now that I'm going to do whatever it takes to reach this goal. And so you have to say, are you in or are you out? It is a simple decision, but then the work comes, right? So I wanted to talk about more than just one type of goal. I wonder if I can make this big. I don't know. Types of goals. So you have short-term goals, and I love how Chalene breaks this down. Short-term goals, you have to think about today. You have to take it one day at a time. And so many people look at the bigger picture, especially in health goals. And really, if you focus on the smallest goal you can possibly reach, the quickest possible goal you can reach, that is what builds the momentum in fitness. Long-term goals are more for business. I mean, you have to think about the big picture, because daily it's the grind. It's like the hustle. Like it's going to take a while, but if you keep the big picture in focus, that makes it easier to keep pushing. But when you focus on short-term goals for your health, that builds the momentum. So for the main part, I'm going to be talking about health goals on here. So think about that. When you write out your goals, think small. When you're thinking about personal, big family goals, maybe financial goals, career moves, environmental, like if you're moving or whatever, think long-term, because it's going to take that thought process is going to be a little different for each. All right. So before you write out your goals, you have to find out what really matters to you. And this is the step that I missed. I didn't sit down and think about my top 3 priorities. And I'm just going to share a little story with you guys. I was getting certified to be a personal trainer when I did this, like the second year I had done push goals. And I told myself, okay, if I'm going to be a personal trainer, then maybe I'll go ahead and do like a fitness competition. And that thought scared me. And I was like, okay, that's a big, scary goal. Chalene says, set big, hairy, scary goals to help yourself, set yourself accountable to doing that. It'd be out of my comfort zone. It would also be very scary to be on stage and eat that way. But she also told me to brain dump it, right? And so when you start to brain dump and you find out exactly what it takes to walk across the stage at 3% body fat, you realize a whole lot of stuff I ain't willing to do. Like, I'm not willing to do all of those things because it would conflict with my priorities big time, because my family comes first, not hours and hours and hours in the gym, right? So if I hadn't have stopped that first time and gone back and said that my faith and my family and my health are my top 3 priorities, then I would have started to do stuff that not only would it have affected my time with my family, but it would also have affected my health. The more I looked into fitness competition for me personally, I wasn't willing to do what it was going to take. So a lot of times we fail at goals because we're not willing to do what it takes. And instead of being a failure, you should be proud of yourself for not putting yourself through something that the outcome wouldn't have made you happy in the first place. So if you don't start with your top 3 priority goals, you will wind up wasting so much time. And at the end of reaching the goal, you'll still be unhappy. It still won't bring you that fulfillment of joy and success and that you've accomplished something that's super important to you, because a lot of people will do whatever it takes to get there, and then they leave their family to the side or their health. A lot of people reach amazing goals within their business or schooling or whatever that they really want to accomplish, and they just let their health go to crap. And that mattered to them at one point in time, but it never really was a priority. And now they're having a hard time doing the job that they worked so hard for because they're having health issues. You got to create your top priority. And then there's what's called a create your top priority statement. And in her book, she talks about how to do that. And I would love to, at the end of this, read hers to you. I know I have mine somewhere, but before this call, I could not find it to save my life. So I try to do this once every year. So I was going back through this. I'm like, I'm going to put all this together and go over it with all of you. And then I'm going to personally do this with you guys too. Every single year. All right. So before you set, especially since we're talking fitness goals, next you have to ditch the dieter's mentality. And I love that Chalene taught me this a long time ago. So I started my journey in 2010, and my goal was not a physical appearance goal. And I know that's not the case for everyone. Some people really need to focus with that to get them started and motivated. But a personal story on my end is that I used to be a dancer. So my whole world revolved around the way I looked, and I made money off of that. And so when I gained all this weight, I was okay with it, because then I thought I would never be tempted to go back and do that again. And so when my health started declining and my family's health started declining around me, I thought, I need to lose this weight, but I need to lose it for more than what I see as dieter's mentality. And so I think that over the last 8 years, that is what's helped me more than anything else, is the reason why I'm doing this is not for a diet. It's not for a quick gimmick scheme. I don't want to lose it and gain it back. That's always been in the forefront. So if I could pass one thing down that's really helped me be successful, is forget anything you ever heard or learned about dieting, first of all. We good with that? Someone say yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. Making sure you're there with me. I can't see you guys. All right, so reverse engineering your goals before you go for it. This saves you so much time and energy. I mean, it's good to write down your big and scary, audacious goals, but you must sit down and fully understand what it's going to take to reach them first. Will it be worth it in the long run? Will you be happy while you are trying to reach them? Will this interfere with your priorities? And is this even realistic? Like, I used to beat myself up so bad whenever I'd start something and not finish it. But now looking back, I'm like, I used to make jewelry and these crosses, metal crosses and beaded stuff. If I would have done that for the rest of my life, I mean, I would never be able to do what I'm doing now. Can you imagine? Like, I can't even fathom my life any different than the way it is now. But if I would have just continued making crosses and all that just because I didn't want to say, oh, I failed at that. Like, I really wasn't good at it. I wasn't very creative. My stuff wasn't selling. Like, there's a sign here, but so many people just keep pushing and keep pushing something that doesn't make them happy, and it is not going anywhere, a fear of failing and looking like a failure. But in reality, if you just give it up, God's going to help you find that purpose. And instead of looking at it as giving up, you're moving on. You're moving on to something better that aligns more with your purpose or aligns more with your passion and what you really want to do. And you just got to keep looking for it. It reminds me of my kids. I don't know how many of you all have kids, but it's like they're all over the place. One day they're a football fanatic. The next day they're, into Star Wars. The next day they're like Lego masters, and then they're singing karaoke. I mean, they're all over the place. And I think as kids we're going, no, we're told, no, you need to zone that in and just focus on one thing. But what's wrong with trying to figure it out for yourself, for what works best for you? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that comes from being realistic. And what makes goals unrealistic, especially health and fitness goals. But ultimately, sometimes our goals just don't align with our timing in our lives. And so whenever you think about your priorities, those might change. Like today, this month, the next 90 days, and then, 4 months from now, something drastic could, a new baby, it could be a good change, but you might be pregnant, or you might have a big move, or you just never know. But sometimes our goals just don't align with the timing in our lives. And you have to make changes and tweak things and be okay with it. Resources is huge. Like, maybe we set the goal that requires too many resources that we are not able to fund or sustain them anymore. Things change. And then the general one here is writing out goals that aren't specific and you can't just figure out how to achieve them because we don't know what we're doing. Like, we literally don't have a clue where to start, right? Anybody done that? Set a goal and you're like, I have no idea what to do.
Yes.
It never takes flight. I'm like, you don't even get it off the ground. All right. So be confident. First, you got to start with confidence. Okay. You've got your priorities, and we're going to talk about that priority clarity statement here in a minute. Now you got to have confidence, right? You've made the decision to do this. And the only way, and I'm so thankful I learned this, the only way to be confident is by taking action, and you got to practice. Those are the only habits that build your confidence and self-esteem. You can't buy it. You're not born with it. It's not gifted to you. Doing the new thing, the new scary thing, and realizing that you can do it, that you survived, and everything's okay. And then you do it again. I used to tell Ashton, I don't know if she's on this call because I can't see faces, but I remember when I first met her, I was doing something scary and it just stuck with me. And I told her, every day do something that scares the crap out of you. Just do it. That just makes you feel alive. It builds your confidence, helps you grow. So when you're thinking about setting these goals for yourselves, think big, scary, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to grow as an individual and person just in order to reach that goal. I'm going to have to change. I'm going to have to get better. I'm going to have to move some stuff around in my life. I'm going to have to set some new priorities, maybe even to reach this goal. So be confident and know that you can reach them. And that goes back to what I said earlier. If someone else can do it, you can do it. And you can most likely do it better. And I'm quoting Chalene Johnson for real right now. Almost everything I'm saying is her. All right. So SMART goals. A lot of people have seen SMART goals floating around, what the SMART, what they actually stand for. And I stole the SMART goals from what Chalene says for her fitness. Okay. She has different ones that's a little tweak different for business or personal goals, but these are breaking down for fitness. So you start with the smallest. And she's saying other type of goals, you want to be more specific. But we're going to use the word smallest. You build momentum when you take this one baby step and one bite-sized piece at a time. My mom did this. She's a prime example. Over 4 years, 3 years, a little over 3 years of taking it one itty-bitty, teeny tiny bite size at a time. And she's made huge progress. And I always love saying this. It's like an airplane. They have like a little beaker at the end of their airplane, and they are constantly moving back on track. Every time you take an airplane ride to your destination, that airplane is off track, completely off track more than it is on. But it has that little beaker, and it just keeps adjusting the plane until it reaches its destination. If it gets off like 1%, it's going to land in a whole nother country. You have to take it one day at a time, one decision at a time, and not beat yourself up. And when you look at the big picture, it looks overwhelming. So when it's health specific, you want to build momentum on reaching one goal at a time. Start small. And we're going to find those small goals by breaking it down later. We're going to brainstorm. Then you got to measure it, right? So, and then when we talk about realistic earlier, you can't say, I want to lose 30 pounds in a month. It's not possible. So, but you do need to measure it. Knowing that 1 to 2 pounds a week is a healthy weight loss, that's good to know. And you can set smaller weight loss goals instead of looking at the 100 that you have to lose. Just do it five. You have to say, I want to lose 5 pounds a month. Something that you can see. Or I want to work out 5 times a week. Or I want to eat 3 big meals a day. Use measurable goals. And then I love thinking about it this way too. You've got to measure your body so you can see the progress. When I think of measure and not just the scale, and maybe even taking pictures. Right now we're in a beta test group, and some of you are going to start with us in the If That Were Fuel group, and we're getting our blood work. That's measuring. I mean, you're going to be able to see the difference. You can prove to someone else when you measure something. The A is for achievable. You should be able to achieve your goals and know what is possible and make sure that it's realistic. I love R for rewarding. Most SMART goals use the R for realistic, actually. But this one's rewarding. And never reward yourself with food when you're focusing on your meal, you're focusing on health-related goal setting, okay? The reason is that's what got you into the situation you're in now, is thinking, okay, if I do really, really good, I'll reward myself with this wine. Or if I do really, really good, I'll reward myself with this. Our food shouldn't be a reward. It should be our fuel. It should make us feel good all the time in a way that boosts our metabolism and makes us feel good. So think of reward as a new pair of yoga pants or new running shoes, or you can set these big rewards for reaching your goals, but also, more importantly, don't focus on the sacrifices, but focus on and identify any and all side effects that are rewarding when you accomplish these goals. So she talks about in the book, which I love, is like, how are you going to feel? What are you going to be able to do? If you reach these health goals, what can you not do now that you're going to be able to do later? And think about those things too. The small things that most people overlook are usually the things that successful people focused on the most. We overlook the simplest, smallest, rewarding things. And then time sensitive kind of reminds me of measurable, but you have to set a time frame and a deadline for your goals. This is not a health and fitness related example, but my husband was going for a big, huge golf thing. And I kept telling him, you need to set a date that you're going to go and take these tests. Like, you need to set the date. And he just wouldn't set that date. And he didn't do the work. He didn't plan. He didn't, this week for 2 hours, I'm going to sit down and research and study and whatever it takes to get to that. If you don't have an end date in line, then you just won't do what it takes. So maybe you set yourself up for a 5K in 6 months. That's time sensitive, and then you can reverse engineer these goals that's going to take you to get there. But again, you want to keep that realistic thing. So if you need help setting measurable and time sensitive goals, let me know, because that does help understanding what's possible, really knowing how our anatomy is and how our bodies work, and physically and scientifically what's possible with our bodies in a time frame. So you definitely want to make sure that you know where you're at and where you're going and how long it could possibly take to do those things. And other things are super simple. I'm going to do this by this date, bam, and I'm going to work towards it, right? All right, so let's do the work. You guys have piece of paper and pen out? Might stop sharing this screen. Let's see. Let me see what I got on here. All right, step 1, we're going to rank these. So I have them on this because I wanted to be able, you guys to be able to write them down as I'm talking. Where did I do with this piece of paper? Feels so weird not actually seeing you guys. It's weird. I'm having to get used to this. It's actually making me nervous, which is weird. Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being perfection and 1 being the worst it could ever be, rate each one of these areas based solely on your own assessment, not what your husband thinks, not what your kid thinks, your best friend thinks, your own assessment of whether things are going well or you've missed the mark. Consider only your opinion and feelings in this score sheet. So your physical health. Out of 1 to 10, out of 1 to, we're ranking these in order from 1 to 10. So you got physical health, mental well-being, environment, hobbies, joy, restoration, romance, friends and family, finances, purpose or career, spirituality, personal development. And I'm wrong. I said that wrong. From 1 to 10. So physical health, you would give it a 1 to 10. Mental well-being, 1 to 10. We're not going to put these in order of 1 to 10. My bad. I said that wrong. Does that make sense? Everybody got that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So for me, this is, I'm looking at mine from last year. I did this right after Christmas last year. I put physical health at 8. Mental well-being, I put at 8. Environment was 7. I'm feeling good where we live, not where I want to be. Hobbies, joy, restoration, I put 6. Romance last year, I put 6. 5 for friends and family, and I was not making many then. We had moved here and I was still lonely. Finances, 4. Always been poor at that. I can actually finally move that one up a little bit. 10, purpose or career. 10, yes. Spirituality was 7 for me. Personal development, 6. So it might take a little bit of time to think about these. I don't want you to have to rush through them tonight, but I kind of wanted you to see how I did that last year. And then I'll do this again. What's good, though, is to see it's kind of like balance. A lot of people are trying to balance out their lives, and it's hard to balance all of that, right? If you really think about, oh, those are all the areas of my life that I should be working on. Crap. But what I love that I've learned so far from looking at this list is that your health and your fitness affects all of these. When you feel better, you do better in all areas of life. That's why I really wanted to focus on your health and fitness. Of course, that's what I do in coaching. But this goes for all of the goals in your life. Like, your health and fitness will make you feel better, give you confidence, clarity, sense of joy. People that get up and work out first thing in the morning there's statistic after statistic of the benefits to having success in all areas of life when you take back control of your health. So I'll give you guys time to rate those later. If you guys ever want to share them in the group with me or with the whole group, please feel free. I might actually even create a post and say, what did you get from this call, and share with me your top priorities or something like that. We might even do another call. So then step 2. So after you've thought about your top priorities, then what Chalene calls is a Shape-O ball. She says, now you're going to take your 10 cool, crazy, craffle, what she calls crazy, ridiculous, amazing, fun-filled life goals. That's what that meant. And you're going to write them down. And then you make the list of these 10 goals that you wish to accomplish in the next 90 days. I don't even do yearly goals anymore. I just focus on 12 weeks at a time, 90 days. There's actually a book out there called The 12-Week Year. I think that's what it's called. So once you write out all these 10 goals, Chalene talks about finding your push goal. And I got some paperwork here. I tried to download this, but she got rid of it. So I found my email that she sent it to, and apparently it's no longer there because she created, just one second, let me see something here. Are you guys still there? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
I'm going to see if I can upgrade this real quick, if it's that easy. I really would like to. Okay, just do it. Oh my gosh, no, I'm not going to do that right now. Cancel. Let me go back to my screen. We have 10 minutes left. I was going to see if it was just an easy thing to do. Okay, well, give me my page back. Where'd it go? No! I'm just going to use that one to help me. Okay. So your push goal is out of the 10, I know you might not have time to do that tonight, but when you look back and you see all 10 of your goals, you're looking for the one goal that's going to help you reach other goals. So for me, it's almost always been financial, except whenever I first started. If everything seems all out of whack, start with your health and fitness, because that's going to improve almost all your other goals, right? But whenever I looked at mine, physical health was, 8. I would say it's even higher than that right now for me this year. When I look at all my goals, I want to find that one that if I reach that one, I would also be reaching other ones in the meantime. That's what a push goal is. A lot of people get confused with what a push goal is. That's why she created this push goal day planner. And now you guys can even purchase her. I can't remember what they're called. Does anybody know what the books are called? Push planner?
It's a Smart Life Push Journal.
Thank you. Is that my Aunt Tina?
Yes.
Yay. Thank you. So she has them for sale. I've done this year after year after year without it. Just a pencil and a new journal. That's what I love doing, is buying a new journal, starting fresh with it. And I write in that journal all year. I write my prayers in it, my goals. And she says to write out your goals every month. And that's one thing I lacked big time this last year that I've done in years past, is I forgot how important it was to write them out every month, every single month. She says some of them will change. That means they weren't that important to you, or things change and you just don't, that's not the goal for you. And you might change their goals, but the ones that are really important will stay there. She says she doesn't even look back at last month's goals. She just rewrites them. If it doesn't make the list again, it obviously is not something that's really that important to you if you can't even remember what your 10 goals were from month 1, right? I see a question down here. Let me look at this. Chat. I want to see. Yes, Maria. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Marie says, improving my eating, exercise would improve my mental, physical, and romance. I got to do this. Yes. And I was hoping that anybody that's struggling in their health and fitness would see the benefits like that, because a lot of people just are so one-track minded when it comes to health and fitness that they lose the sight of how important it is in all areas of their life. They think that it's going to take more time and more away from the things that matter. In reality, it adds to and gives more to everything else that matters. You are able to give more to what really matters to you. So whenever you're finding your push goal, you write down your 10, you take that push goal and you brain dump it. Now you're going to do this with all 10, but if you start with your push goal, because it's going to help you with more than one, you're accomplishing more. So it's like working smarter, not harder. So you brain dump. And I love this. I love this with every idea I have. If I have a new challenge group idea, I brain dump. If I'm going to clean the house, I like brain dump, like everything that needs to get done. And then I organize. I know that might even sound silly to some people, but I hate cleaning. So it's like, if I can create this little game out of it, it makes it more fun for me. But just brain dump, and every little, you have to know. That's what I was talking about. Is it realistic? Do you know what it's going to take in order to do that? When I was going to be walking across some stage in a bikini, did I know that I was going to like have to drink 4 tablespoons of water for 4 days before I went on stage? No, I had to look into it, had to research it, had to break it down, brain dump. And then you take these bigger tasks and you break them down into smaller bite-sized tasks, right? And then what she says, and you can do this however you want, but Chalene always says, every day, do 3 things that would move you closer to your goal. Every day, just 3. Take the brain dump, circle 3 of those things, put them on Monday. Circle 3 more of those things, put them on Tuesday. Circle 3 more of those, you know what I mean? You're just breaking it down into bite-sized steps and always doing 2 to 3 things every day that'll move you closer to that goal. Now you have 10 goals on there. So that's why it's so important to find your push goal so that you're working towards more than just one. Don't pick the easiest one. You already know you could do that. Don't the things that are on your list, when we broke it down, the reason I love that she did that too, thinking about your physical health, your mental health, well-being, environment, hobbies, joy, romance, friends and family, finances, purpose or career, spirituality, personal development. It's usually the numbers that are super low that you're not happy with that are hurting you and holding you back from accomplishing the things that are super important to you. So that's usually why your push goal has something to do with one of those that are lower, and they'll help you reach some of the other goals that you have set on your. So the last 2 things, and this is where I personally need more accountability than anything, is laser focus. Laser. You got to have laser focus. You got to put your blinders on. If it's that important to you, you've got to, sometimes you might have to tell other people no. Have anybody ever read The Best Yes by Lisa TerKeurst? Amazing, amazing book. And it's about doing the things that really matter and not always trying to people please everybody and helping everybody else but you. So you've got to make yourself a priority too. In order to reach your goals, you can't be helping everybody else reach theirs before you give yourself the time to help yourself reach your own goals. That's where most women mess up. Let me see if I can stop share here. So I wanted to stop screen share because I knew we would only have a few minutes left. It says 3 minutes left. Any questions so far? I know that's a lot of information, really fast. Has anybody ever heard of Chalene's clarity statement that she wrote in her book, Push?
Yes.
It's so good. I was trying to remember how long it was. If I had time to read it. I think I do. All right, let's see here. Okay, so this was Shalene's priority statement. When we go back to the beginning of that, where I was talking about you have to set your priorities first, she created a clarity statement, a priority clarity statement, making it super clear what her priorities were and how she was going to stick to her priorities. This is what she says. My number one priority is to fortify and honor my relationship with my family by spending more time together, listening, engaging, and sacrificing to help each member feel important, admired, trusted, respected, and supported in our everyday lives, and to limit activities and pursuits that might be harmful to these relationships. So she's saying nothing she's going to do is going to interfere with that. That's her top priority. My number one priority is to build my business. Oh, this one's someone else's, I think. Oh, I think these are just examples. Thought that was hers. I swore she gave her own in the book.
It's right below there, Janice, on page 8.
Okay.
After that,
I see it, yeah. Okay. Does anybody want to just jump back on? If anybody's free for another 10 minutes or so, I can finish this and answer any questions. And you good? Just jump on right back on the same Zoom, okay? All right, I'm going to come right back. See you in a moment.